the traditional wear that usually are used during Kusefe Bangwena. Because there's nothing that is produced locally that we wear, that we use. So here, Mr. Lucci, from the lotion you used, the soap you used, the clothes we're wearing, in and out, they are all foreign. And we are proud to even go and buy. But do you know what it is you are doing? You are actually exporting jobs. Because the textile industry in the country where these clothes we are wearing are coming from are thriving. We have the best climate. We produce some of the best, raw material, in this case, cotton and all these things. But we don't promote. There's no thrust that speaks to patriotism, because even empowering Zambians is part of the virtue of patriotism. A desire to make sure that the sum total of the economy first must be in the hands of Zambians. Then they can make a choice to partner with foreigners. But we can't have a situation where the sum total of our economy, you are even proudly doing so as a president, as a government, to usher your economy in the hands of foreigners, and you think you have achieved. And we are proud to be praised by foreigners. I don't want to sound racist, but there are politicians who think that taking a photo with a white man is such a great achievement in life. You understand what I'm saying? That kind of mentality should never find itself in government. That's the argument. So the first policy from my brother who sent a message is that we must first insist that the economy must be in the hands of Zambians. And what we did, which has led to us losing the industrial base in this country, we need to revisit that. And Patriotic Front started doing so. We had, remember, a policy that we should at least have one industry in each province. The cashew nut plantation in Western Province was leading to us having a processing plant in Western Province. We had the fruit processing company that was established in Northwestern Province, because obviously it was understood that with pineapples and everything, that was the thrust, because it is only when you are producing, semi or finished goods that will be competitive on the market. That's how it works. We can't have today producing nothing as a country and expect that the currency will improve. It's not a bragadabra. Misaka Indechirema came here, he was telling you and the Zambian people that when you vote for me around 10 hours, by 14 hours the currency will improve. And everybody is clapping, how would that work? Is there some magic from my village that will help Misaka in the Ichinama to bring the currency down? No, the currency only works, goes down when you are able to produce and go and export, and when forests come into your country, it strengthens your Koroko currency. That's how it works. There's no magic, there's no abracadabra here. The reason why the currency will never improve, they are hoping that IMF will give them a little injection of some dollars, which will reflect here, and then it will try and bring the kwacha down. That's temporal. The real solution is that let's begin to produce. Let's begin to sell that which will be marketable on the international market, and we'll get all the forex that we require for our local currency to be strengthened.
So I want to make this point, and I had mentioned that Mr. Sampa will be joining us. He has just walked in, but I want to make this point to you because a lot of people are making this point, online. They're making the point of saying, and this is where there's you could say that there's a bit of history teaches us something. A lot of people keep saying that, look, Mr. Nakacinda and his friends, his colleagues, were in power for 7 years, 10 years if we count the 3, but all the things that he says today, all the things about why wasn't this in local hands, why, we have all these resources, why did they then go out and borrow all the funds that they went and borrowed, why was there stories of, corruption, why were all of these elements there? It's not like he is clothed in never having been in government, but no, this is a party that has already been in government. What do you say to people like that?
Mr. Sata, when he got into government, and I think my colleague was just joined, Honorable Sampa, authoritatively will also speak to it, because at some point he was privileged to have been a Deputy Minister of Finance. Mr. Sata's thrust when he got into government, and people tried to suggest that he was operating haphazard, but he knew his plan. First, there was a dedication of 5 to 10 years to invest in infrastructure. Okay? And investing in infrastructure required capital. And in business, just like in governance, we must be comfortable. And it is all right to use other people's money. Those who are in the banking sector will tell you that there's no business that runs without other people's money. It's an issue of making sure that the other people's money you're getting is cheaper, but also that where you invest, you're guaranteed that there will be a return. And the investment of Patriotic Front for the money that we borrowed, from the perspective of Secretary as part of government, is that it went towards capital investment. The money we borrowed, there is tangible evidence out there of infrastructure. And there's no country that has developed globally without infrastructure, particularly in the road.
Do you admit? So you said something. You said something very interesting earlier on. You talked about how in the early parts of the UPND government they came in. Maize was sold, and all of these things. The one thing that I never heard from them, and I still haven't heard it, and maybe it might benefit people if they did, is to come back to the people and say, "Listen, we made a mistake." Do you today? Can you say that you pushed as a party, that you pushed to overdevelop too quickly, and because of that you borrowed way too much, that maybe we should have been a little more careful with how much capital expenditure we were investing in that would be then able for us to pay back?
Even the rhetoric that we borrowed too much is abused both locally and outside. Our equity as a country is over and above what you can say overborrowed. Okay, it's just that
in terms of paying back.
No. We have discussed a larger part of our discussion around how the economy is structured. Are you convinced that if the economy is in our hands, we don't really have to even struggle about this debt? I'll give you an example of Traore, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But again,
allow me to learn.
Okay.
Burkina Faso was said to be indebted, and the debt is insurmountable and so on, until one guy came on the scene and said, that myth is fake. We can pay this money within a year and some months. Did you do it? Yes. The so-called overborrowing and the figures are mentioning a few billions of dollars. When you look at the genuine and equity of this country, just one sector of our economy can be able to sort out that debt.
But you had 10 years, but you were still pushing for IMF, and that's the only point I want to make. That you still had about a 10-year period. Fine, maybe in terms of repayment, it could have been the last 3-4 years.
Okay,
but you were still trying to engage IMF.
The conversation you are leading me to is the very one you are debunking. That why do we discuss through partisan?
I'm not. This is not a partisan line. I'm just saying that because that people will say that, listen, Mr. Nakacinda makes some very valid points that if in our own hands we would be able to pay back, but they had an opportunity to do so. Why weren't they able to do so?
Okay, so maybe
that's the only argument.
Okay, maybe to curtail the conversation, because our leader, Dr. Edgar Chaganon, came open to the public, apologized for the things that we may not have done and things that we did which were wrong, and that we have undertaken the process of introspection, rebranding in certain areas and so on. Could it be that it is acceptable for us to also admit that in terms of approach around these issues, we have learned that had we done certain things faster, because by the time we're dealing with, for example, Mopani, to get it in the hands of Zambians, to get KCM, it was towards the end our journey in our tour of duty in government, and it was politicized. But I can tell you today, it makes sense, I'm sure even to Zambian people, had Mopani still remained in our hands and encouraged a few Zambians with that equity, get them some shares, whatever percentage, they go in the market to go and find capital and they invest. That mine would have been producing whatever it is producing, the money will still remain in Zambia. And just Mopani alone, Mopani alone, if the money is locally coming back to this country, because the products in from Mopani or from copper today, the prices are skyrocketing as if there is no tomorrow. We should have been directly benefiting, but we go and get the so-called investors who are not even known. The ones we are even supposed to give a lift to come and invest in our country. You send a plane to go and collect them. You understand what I'm saying? That's a scandal. But in answering the question, there are many positive things that we did as Patriotic Front, which our friends who are in government today cannot demonstrate. We borrowed, there's something to show. Okay. Had we been allowed to continue beyond 2021, I can tell you, some of these ideas we're talking about would have been implemented, and we started implementing, and possibly the difficulty would not be as it is today. Our friends said, when they come into government, we are a reckless government, they'll come and solve all the problems. But today the situation, we can't even say it's worse. They have created new problems that we may have to sharpen our skill to come and navigate around the problems they've created, but continue on the trajectory of development at the same time.
Okay. Just speaking about problems, Mr. Mao Sampa is here. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Luchi, and good morning, dear listeners, wherever you're joining us.
I probably haven't phrased the sentence correctly. I didn't mean that you're a problem. I just meant in terms. Let me explain what I meant in case people think I've got this wrong. So a lot of people say, Mr. Mao Sampa, they say that in a way you weaken opposition, opting to have this conference, install yourself as president, in a way sort of weaken the Patriotic Front and weaken opposition. Obviously now you've obviously endorsed the former president. You've given back the party in a way, and there's just now one party and not two different factions. But do you understand when people are a little frustrated with some of the happenings of the past 2 years in terms of opposition and your role in it?
Thank you, Luchi, and again, good morning, dear listeners. I'm honored to be here with my brother, the Secretary General of the PF, Honorable Raphael Nakacinda. Your question, Luchi, that I am to blame. Right, I accept. Blame me for everything. I am the causer of the opposition and what transpired last few years. The Americans have a very good saying. They say it's not how you fall that matters, it's how you rise. In any gathering of human beings, it's almost guaranteed that when you assemble, as you assemble, you're gonna fight. The trees will rub depending on the direction of the wind. Even in our homes, we all rub shoulders or fight, unless you're not human. Even in our homes with our wives, but it's how you get up or resolve the issue. So I take the blame, and it's because of what you said. I had been listening a lot to the people out there, most of the listeners, and for that very reason, they told me the best way is unite with your brothers. The best way is unite with President Edgar Lungu. The best way is unite with Honorable Given Lubinda and Honorable Nakacinda and all other people. Unite with Honorable Nkanduluo, unite with Honorable Jean Kapata and many others. And I listened. As a politician, God gave me skills to listen to the people, because I'm not a leader for myself. I lead the people, and the people that I lead give me signals on which direction to take and what to do. It's not about what I want. So I listened to the people. I was more than happy to shelve my personal ambitions and do what the people want. It's football, Luchi. It's the second half now. So if what I did weakened the opposition in the first half, we have the entire second half, and anything does happen. And the game now is at 0-0. UPND is 0, PF is 0, and we're going to the second half. And the players now warmed up, and we have senior players and junior players, and we are rejuvenated as a PF. So we fight second half even better and finish the game in August 2026. It will not even go in penalties.
Can I ask you, because a lot of people are curious about this, they've been curious, since October the 24th, that public holiday, when you had this convention. Was there were you working with the government, with the party? How is it that you were able to mobilize this huge security around Mulungushi? Do you just want to, I don't know if you're able to, because a lot of people really want to know.
I don't know if you really want to take us in the past. The past must stay in the past. We are looking forward to play the second half. The first half is gone, and the whistle was blown for the second half. So it's irrelevant what transpired. We have united. We are one. I've never joined the UPND. Never will join the UPND. The police are for everybody. They are not for the ruling party. They are not for the opposition. They are for everybody. So if I ask for their services and they are available, it's because I have a right as a Zambian. But I'm not keen to talk about the past. Okay. It's the past. We have risen, we've dusted ourselves, and we're more united than ever. That's the strength of the PF.
Has there been, and I don't know whether it's SJ who should answer this one, but has there been, forgiveness within the party? I know that there were some members who, were facing certain expulsions, suspensions. There were members of parliament, who were facing these expulsions. Has everyone been forgiven now? Or are those, issues still there?
Well, I think specifically we're discussing, the coming together of Honorable Sampa and obviously ourselves. Like he has put it, is in the interest of the nation, in the interest of the party. And it would be erroneous. We didn't go to the public and say, now we are starting a process of reconciliation and this is how it's going to play out. No. We engaged ourselves privately, resolved our issues privately. The only thing that we have come to the public with is that all the differences that you perceived and otherwise have been resolved. The only thing we are calling upon the Zambian people to give us is a confidence that the decisions that have been made and the working together as one unit is in their interest. The Zambian people have been yearning to have a credible, united opposition, and the starting point is Patriotic Front. We also, as the big brother in the opposition, reaching out to other political parties that let's respond to what the Zambian people are saying. The only thing is, as it were, it was honest conversations, and honest conversations that has led to an honest, healing process and coming together. Like he has put, it's not a seamless process. There are some who may look like they are not very clear about what is going on. They may criticize and so on, but it's part of the journey. The journey of those who are in public office, as it were, people assume a right to make comments. Some of them make conclusions. Some of them, there are people who just sit at home, they have nothing to do, and their innovation is around finding who to criticize. But at the end of the day, we have a country to run. We have a duty as opposition to provide checks and balances now, but also to be able to prepare ourselves as a political party working with others to present a credible set of leaders, men and women, that will be able to help the country moving forward. The issues that we're discussing, the disastrous development of having to have the Americans plug out the, in aid of $50 million dollars, and the whole country shaking. Of course, in the immediate, their lives are threatened, but in the long term, it exposes the fact that 61 years after independence, we still have to be very dependent to a point where $50 million aid, when it's taken away, the country, the entire sector is really devastated. I think it's an indictment on all of us as Zambians. By now, we should have been able to meet some of these obligations.
But in unity, in unity, this is unity of the party now.
Yes.
You cannot discount members of parliament.
Yes.
Now, if there are some members of parliament who maybe have a question mark hanging over them in terms of some of the things that were said by one faction when there were factions, are those being resolved quietly? Is that what you're saying? That those are being resolved quietly?
Yes.
Even though their expulsions, their suspensions were made on a public forum?
As Secretary General, I can tell you that there are people who took advantage of the situation with Honorable Sampa. They were not even doing that from a perspective that either supported or Sampa or whatever. They just took advantage of that situation to advance a personal agenda. They are also, we are dealing with this matter, from the actual situation that it is. Okay, we are also have made a deliberate decision to, bestow and entrust Honorable Sampa with the responsibility of being leader of opposition in Parliament. And we are confident that he should be able to, whip members of Parliament. There are two aspects. One, to foster even a greater unity within the party, to make sure that every facet of Patriotic Front, first, is pulling the same direction. And the facet here has to do with, first, of course, the Central Committee under the leadership of President Edgar Chagalungu. And second, it is members of Parliament under his leadership. We have mayors and council chairpersons, we have councillors, we have structures across the country. As Secretary General, my responsibility has been to make sure that those that may have been, with Honorable Mao Sampa and they were displaced, that there is genuine unity from the top going downwards up to the section, so that those who may have moved and treating each other as rivals and so on, that is healing up to that level, because we need unity even at a minute level of the political party for this machinery to work.
The reason I'm asking about the MPs in particular is because obviously we're going into a period where there is some legislation that might be on the floor of the House that obviously requires, I suppose, those that are PF MPs to be whipped in a certain direction. Now, if there are still question marks hanging over their heads, then there's obviously a possibility that they may find themselves voting in a different direction. That's why, with
our support, we have placed that responsibility on his laps, and I think he can comment.
Okay.
Let me come in, Luchi. Thank you. First of all, this process, it needed reconciling and forgiving each other, and includes MPs as well. But where an MP doesn't want to reconcile, where an MP has insisted on being defiant, those then remain expelled. I think that's where even the beginning of misunderstanding began with my colleagues at the time, Chavinga and Ngona, when I kept telling them, let's reconcile with the MPs. Remember, there were 9 MPs that were expelled. I said, let's reconcile. And they kept refusing. And they said, let's go in a consent and kill that case in court. They kept refusing. I kept telling them, write to the speaker to say we've forgiven them, so there's no by-election. But obviously we had defiant agenda. Later on I came to realize I had to write a letter myself to the speaker to say, as president, I've forgiven these 9, as president then, these 9 MPs. But we know Deputy Speaker Moyo, in his ruling, said, no, we don't listen to forgiveness from the president of the party, only to the Secretary General. I don't know which law he got that from. And indeed, that's how come the appeal went through. He was overruled, that he overstepped. So we were reconciled with the MPs, but there are those, they have sold their souls. They are determined. They don't want to reconcile. So it's in the hands of the SG, their expulsion that he has executed. When it comes to the registration, worry not. We've done our homework. The numbers that we have working together as PF is enough. We have discounted those. We already know those that have been paid to vote for the constitutional amendment, which is not in the interest of the people, because it's coming just a year before elections. What's the hurry? Why can't the UPND wait until elections are gone? No, we know they want to sneak in something that will basically make the elections in 2026 academic and sustain themselves in power. So when we remove those, I don't even want to dignify them and mention them, but they are known. They are about 7. We have already counted them in our books. They are not PF with us. They will not vote with us. They will vote with the UPND. Even if they do that, Luchi, they'll still not get the 2/3 majority. Will beat them to it. That constitution will flop. The same way they made the Bill 10 flop, their Bill 11 will flop and will come out there dancing. We'll beat them to it. So we are united both in and outside the house.
Okay. Let me go to the phone lines. I know a lot of people do want to talk to you. I just want to apologize to our callers, but I needed to just get clarification from Mr. Sampa just as he walked in on some of those issues. But let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Lucho.
Morning. What's your name, sir?
Lucho, can you get me loud and clear?
I can hear you, sir. What's your name?
Okay, please let me just make my contribution. This is Niji. I am calling from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Well, my question is directed to Honorable Miley Sampa. Mr. Sampa, I hope and trust that you can get me loud and clear. Can you please tell the nation, Mr. Sampa, if at all you were ever sponsored by President Hakainde Hichilema to cause confusion in the Patriotic Front? You are on the record of having accused Robert Chiringa of being sponsored, of which you were also accused. Please tell the nation without fear, favor, or ill will. Politics aside. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Meji. Let me take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Luchi.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Washukenda SG Bandiva Nakacinda.
Go ahead, Madam. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Mal Sampa.
Good morning, my dear honorable sister.
Yes, I'm so happy I'm true Catholic. Maybe you didn't realize this. Maybe I learned some of us were praying to Arifunga kweba tifiti achitika, sichitike, and it came, if you know, soon after Lent. We thank God for you coming back to the party, and we love you. After the unity, Taibula Kushenkana, as you rightly said, we move on, we soldier on to liberate the people of Zambia. Luchi, allow me just to add on what Honorable Nakacinda was talking about. People might not know that if we had continued in government, things could have changed. Nakacinda Wachilanda about the Cashewnut project which was started in Western Province and the Pineapple project which was started in Northwestern. People may not be aware that the Patriotic Front also reserved the Munushi banana in Luapula. It's the Patriotic Front which ended the cries of the people of Kawambwa over Kawambwa tea. We started the project in Uchinga province of growing forests so that we encourage the locals to have money. There was another project which was started in Central Province concerning cassava growing, and outgrowers farmers were identified to that project. There was another project which was started in Eastern Province of having a fruit company, particularly in Katete. If we were still in power, the locals could have done better industrialization. That's what we are looking at. That's how you saw we started the milling plants. I am a free up over UPND. We had one in the Southern Province, one in Muchinga, one in Lusaka near my neighborhood. If we were in power today, all the provinces could have had other milling plants, just like we had our storage facilities here at UL.
Okay.
And as I conclude, for people to see that either if it's President Edgar Lungu who is coming back because the case is still in court, and we have confidence that the story can be overturned, or if it's plan B, we will start off from where we left. You know that when they sold Abama Shinziak cereals, they were taken to Kenya in Nakuru, as I'm concluding.
I'm going to cut you off, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. Let me take as many other callers as I can. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. On that line, 226-841-0978-895-895. Hello, good morning. as well. Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning, sir. What's your name? Yes, Pashmalan.
Msanyi wa Sampa Nakacinda muntu ngusamano lesalen pala.
Katasam kwa mlishan.
Ine nyingu kwa wino sana ba samtete bakide. Ya kwe bakinga mwese kani itapamu. Nganamu isiba ipaniti subilo abena zambe bakwite itipani itaPF itakwete umutima wabalanda itakwete umutima wabantu. Nukulanguru kwe bati mwina Zambia onse aikara buno. Amaplani wa PF mwari ambili amaplani asuma sana mwari kongwele mpia development yale mwenike mwale posinda lama mwina Zambia onse ale mona mwasta mwisigayo kiba UPN jirelo bale yumpira po unga wazede yes ila PF yonse amaplani ayo so le sale mipala atukwate fe mutima umo ba position wonse iseni apaida kwa pe mutima umo nga twasale kapanti wa UPN basa pitaba tukatampo kuli abana bisu ngana mumona amasakta wa UPN yonse bali pasalangana bulandi wa butushi so imo ba PF ba SP mkwate mutima unga umu kwe bati kirwani fikaye effort ko teni ba UPN mkwate sanpa mkwate to tram kwai.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vashimalan. Let me take two more, then I'll let you respond. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. What's your name?
Thank you so much. Dr. Mainza himself, calling you direct from Atembo Family.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
You know, PF guys, Nakacinda and Sampa, you are talking to yourself. There is no one, no more Zambian who can trust you. There is no one Zambian who can trust you. Guys, you are a bitter guys and you are a liar person. Look at the freedom now we have this time. There is no bashing in Zambia. There is no violence in Zambia. Comrades, let us be honest. They will rule this country. Honest. Mahmunda mzamata rasile wana kusema toko papasa na mamimba government ya bwera atandizira. Cash forward government ya bwera atandizira. Maozi Sampa, kill your friend. You are staying in Kanema constituency. Come here in Mkoa 15. You will see Mokalesko Sianita Manga. In Linda, even including Bonaventure. What are you? This is the first person there right now. I'm talking to you. We are enjoying in this government. And the Zambians, they can't allow you to bring division or whatever in UPN. We can't allow you. Now tell us now, Sam. I have to do my so-called PF in that. Because you are treated, suppose you are management Sampa. So you carry the way you are. We don't even know better. So then, actually, the moment you make this good alliance, good position and then like that. So we can trust you as anymore now. Enough is enough. This time is for UPND. Simple. Right? You can't let that try from Drama say.
Okay. All right. Dr. Mainza, thank you very much. Let me get you to respond. Do you want to respond?
Yeah, I think I will say Honorable Sampa that the trouble to answer questions like from Miji and Hatembo is unnecessary. I think the Zambian people are looking forward to us progressing from this end. The happenings and whatever transpired, all those who may have taken advantage or otherwise done anything, Chosata Chisadi Dandani, Mwine, that's the Nyanja saying. For us here, we want to be progressive. Honorable Mumbipiri has helped to categorize some of the very progressive ideas that were being implemented under Patriotic Front. Bashimanama, he kudos to Honorable Sampa, the fact that we were able to get to where we are today. And I think moving forward, as a party, we want to be forward-looking at what will be helpful to the Zambian people and getting ready for governance. The internal matters that we're dealing with are such that we have resolved all matters in relation to what people are trying to advance at their factions, our reconciliatory process and documents that have been prepared have been presented to the court. We are waiting just basically for a final tick on it. There is somebody who asked me a question, suppose the court doesn't do that. I said it's impossible. How can a couple in a home, for example, they differed and sued each other, and in the process they come and say, no, darling, I think we overstepped, and what will they reconcile? Then they go to court and the court says, no, you can't reconcile. Because I think you fought too much. Actually, you disclosed in this affidavit that this one you are the boyfriend, or this one has a girlfriend, and all kind of thing. No. When a step has been taken, remember the judiciary we run and the system we run, you are lawyer, is an adversary judicial system. It is moved, the court is moved by parties, either one or both parties. If the one who has sued and the one who's been sued come to agree outside court and come to the court, is one of the celebrated principles within our jurisdiction, that when parties agree and come to resolve, the court doesn't even have to, because it will defeat the principle of adversarial system, because the court is not supposed to have an interest in a matter. We are here, Honorable Sampa. We reconcile. And why should somebody say don't reconcile?
Why we not can?
I just want to make this. Fred asked us an interesting question. He says, in terms of the reconciled parties, have you amended the records at the registrar? Because maybe you can correct us. Were records changed? So have those records been amended?
Right, Luchi. So you see, when two factions politically are fighting, and there was a number of court cases where I took them to court, they took me to court. One particular one is where the 9 MPs took me to court. So we've reconciled ourselves, as the SG has said, but then because the matters were in court, we've gone to the court and given them evidence that we've reconciled. I have signed, I've reconciled. The other parties also have signed, we've reconciled. It simplified it. If you were undergoing a divorce and you had filed in court, husband and wife, you had filed in court that you went through that divorce, and then next you reconcile, you go back to the judge and say, no, we're back in one home. If anything, we are number 8. So we've reconciled. It's not for the judge to just saying, but you were got a girlfriend, or you cannot reconcile. So it's irretrievable, irrevocable. It's just a process that has to be ratified by the judge, and we're waiting for the judge to append that reconciliation. But if you allow me, SG said Dr. Mainza, but never Mainza learned that under UPND now people are enjoying. Himself, he says he's enjoying, and there's a freedom. I don't know which freedom. Cadres are still there attacking people. What freedom when people are experiencing hunger? What freedom when money in circulation is not there? Prices have gone up of millimil. When PF left government, the millimil was 120. Now it's 450 kwacha. There are no jobs. There is ZESCO load shedding. Despite excessive water, we are told now Zambezi district has been cut off because Zambezi river is flooded. Victoria Falls, the water is plenty of it, but there's still load shedding. Why? Because they're still exporting power. As my colleague says, they prioritize the investors and outsiders and leave the people last. Fuel price, we left it at 17 kwacha per liter. It's now 37 kwacha per liter, over 100% increment.
27. Just to correct you, 27.
27. Yeah. 27. Still, it's over 80% increment. Foreign exchange, as my brother the SG said, we were taught when Edgar Lungu was handing over power at Hero Stadium, the foreign exchange, the kwacha, $1 to 1 kwacha was about 17 kwacha. Manje rikuti hapa 28 kwacha luchi. So what has happened to appreciate that 14 hours? So how are people enjoying? The people have no food to eat. If now you don't even in Kalamba, nafika kumana sometimes ubunga bwepwa bwangu, because we are sharing with the guards, sharing with the maids, with the gardeners, one bag, and we end up buying kapamela, so we are all feeling it. Before, I used to, every month I would buy a bag of mumu for all the domestic workers. Now it's very expensive. But this is where Dr. Mines is saying Zambians are enjoying. No, he himself is enjoying because there's a UPND cadre and official even brought up this cash for work thing. This is a scam. You know, all they've done is they take officials in their awards and they list them on the cash for work, and those are the ones they pay the money. Go and get that list of cash for work just there in Kanyama, and we list them there. We mention all of them cash for work. You know which party they belong to if you are a real politician. So that's just a conduit of abusing government money to pay their cadre. So he is enjoying, and may he continue enjoying. The majority of people of Zambia are suffering, but their suffering is coming to an end August 2026.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. What's your name, sir?
Hello?
Hello, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Lucy. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. What's your name, sir?
This is Jamba calling you from Rusaka.
Says Yamba, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Sampa, good morning, Mr.
Good morning, Mr. Ziamba.
Yeah, I want to find out from Mr.
I think we lost him. Let's try this other line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Rush.
Good morning, sir. What's your name?
This is Mulanga, the voice of Raphael Sampa. Mulina Nakacinda. Otuatotera turefu sare mwisho mutende pakwe bati mololokesho mukasangwe kweko bakainde chireme bakawina mu 2026. Iyo group y'abarungu icyakubarira ko mulingire mwasumira okwe bati mwalifuma mpawa. Icya namba 2 mulingire okusumira okwe bati tamwakabwerere mu mpawa. Icya namba 3 mulingire okwishuba okwe bati history ya Zambia yera ndati. Abaya tababwerere po ba unity barire bayiririda. Kwali MMD bushe kwali wale monekati MMD kuti yafumyapo. But rizimu yaba basata balale mu kibote bali bombere okufumyapo MMD yayiririda. Ngani barungu bena imwe. Imwe mwabo ipate ene ikapwana omusebanya.
Mr. Manda, is there a question? Is there an actual question? Is there a question?
In conclusion, nare unfwa again push a question. Nare unfwa statement yaba chavinga balandiri ati. Ine mirandisha abakoti yeronga na rusa nakulasta appeal until 2031 okuchita appeal. So pali question yaba chavinga bati mwasa basampero ngachitire communicate na balungu. Pali question yaba chavinga tibakula chitomulando appeal until 2031. Na situation communicate na barungu pali yo apiu
Okay. Mr. Mulenga, thank you very much. I think we get the question, but thank you very much for calling. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name, sir?
Good morning.
Morning. What's your name?
My name is Stani Zulu.
Stani Zulu, go ahead.
Yes, I'm calling from Zim.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I just want to encourage all the people are saying PF that already helpful, whatever. The major opposition is the common man, which is the compound there. Wakanyama, Ukabanana. These I think that they don't know what is the economy they're talking about. Kaunga. Katakasara is picking up for road, but yeah, that place that is happening. Yeah, after PF, big office. Now the USA ambassador is below the edge from Zambia. Yes, I did. That's Gonzalez. Yes, it's on the edge. They cut the edge. So, can you appear to Sampa Nakacinda satisfying? Who are people here now?
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. 22684 0978895895. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you, Mr. Moderator?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Philemon from Chiturika, Zambia. Am I audible, Mr. Moderator?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Thank you. Allow me at this juncture to completely disagree with your guests there who are misleading the country for cheating the nation to send them to vote like 2026 to Kawami into. These are the guys who killed the economy to negative 2.8 to 4.0 if you like. We should celebrate. Growing an economy means refurbishing of Ama roads. You know, these economic activities will come to fruition because most of the projects under your regime, under Mr. Lungu, stored. What did you say? That all the projects that are 60% should be stored. And these are the mistakes we are trying to rectify. These are the mistakes we are trying to address. Again, somebody who is addressing it in just you are busy offloading on this beautiful platform. So I'm urging you that you should agree that you are a tested leader who cannot be given a chance to come and finish off what you left. Corruption was rampant, was rife under your regime. We saw Ama Ukwa bag,
Mr.
65 million. Have you seen?
Yeah,
this is what we call fighting corruption.
Mr. Philemon, thank you very much. I don't think we need to get angry. Do you want to respond? A lot of people seem to have this feeling that a party that was in government previously will not return.
But you know what is interesting is that the UPND members are trying to hide. This is so-called Philemon from Chiturika village. This is my relative. You know, but the other Gamubora Bantangarala Mambauti, the many in Maribanda, and you argue your case, than to hide and try to, say I'm from this and that. And you can even tell from your accent that this is my proper. But
I don't have such accent in my village, called Chiturika.
But the truth of the matter is that, look, the UPND should not be in the mode of cascading in the manner they do what the opposition are saying. And they have also taken an absolute, an attitude of absolute authority to determine what would happen in 2026. They are not the determinants, it's the Zambian people. Mr. Stanley has said something very important. The real opposition is not necessarily political parties, it's the ordinary Zambians. The only thing as political parties we're doing is to align our policies and articulate that which we think should have been done, what we did, and that which we project should be done. But at the end of the day, it is the people of Zambia. The second opposition is the economy. There is something you can never argue against, like Honorable Sampa said. The prices of commodities are speaking for themselves. There's nothing the UPND can say, is compare and contrast. We don't even have to remind the Zambian people about compare and contrast because they can compare and contrast on their own. When they go to buy mini meal, there's no one who goes with a card of UPN to go and get cheaper mini meal. We all buy the expensive mini meal. We all are paying for the expensive fuel. We're all paying for the expensive commodities. Life is tough. Life is difficult. Here at Radio Phoenix, the Radio Phoenix we knew 4 years ago, and how people used to look fresh, and you can tell that nowadays you can tell that the economy is biting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not embarrassing anybody, but that's the reality. Even us, but you understand, things are tough.
I feel like a lot of people in this building might disagree with you. Unfortunately, I got married, so you know how that life is.
Of course, congratulations. But the reality is that it's something else. There was a time you would go, and today you find that on the streets.
Yes.
You used to be privileged to be MP, minister, then mayor. Mm-hmm. The people, when they saw the mayor of Lusaka a few years ago, it was celebration. Today, when you meet colleagues on the streets, they don't even ask for money. First, they will keep you for 15 to 20 minutes explaining how things are tough and how that you should work hard and all that. ordinary people. And then you tell them, but why so uza kwanza mboma because they can deliver now. Bakabwera pano na mawindo bakavana. They don't even want to talk to us. You understand what I'm saying? They can't even. So such kind of leaders in government, I can tell you, they are only headed for disaster. What happened in Monza yesterday, I felt for, is it the other day? I felt for Aka in the HLM. You are having Dorcas mothers given placards. You know, in their minds, they think that they are scoring. Given placards to try and project the person they are managing away from reality. Is Aka in the HLM. Today, UPND, under the political strategy of Levin Goma, they are printing placards on gross paper, taking to Kaputa, taking to villages, and even the person carrying the placard can't even read. But they are doing it for Aka in the HLM because usually presidents are the most powerful but the most vulnerable. And if you don't find a way to counter-check what is happening, they will deceive you, the very people you are with, and make you believe that everything is okay. Aka in the HLM is living in a bubble. The reality on the ground is that things are bad. What has happened with the Americans' pronouncement, things will even get worse. He's supposed by now to have addressed the nation because at least those that are captured, 1.3 million Zambians at the risk of losing their lives because ARVs that we don't produce, by just that one decision, there will not be ARVs in hospitals. And that position should cause any president to lose their intestine. Because this is terrible. You understand what I'm saying? And then we have cadres coming and watch a space. And the Honorable Sampa, I think we have taken a stance of being honest. Nice it is and
they don't learn from the past. And Luchi, let me just actually politics in Zambia, I've seen Luchi. Politicians, they tend to repeat the same mistake, the same mistakes that we made as PF. And as my colleague has said, that our president, the former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, he took time to apologize. He accepted that cadres were harassing people. That was the major thing. Instead of learning from that, President HH has allowed cadres. They are all over. They attack people everywhere. Allow me also to go to Mr. Mubanga, who was saying, the history of Zambia says a party does not come back. We like it that way when they are overconfident. The easiest team to beat in a football match is the one that is overconfident. What he doesn't know, Mr. Mubanga, is the history of Zambia has shown that MMD was in power for 15 years. After that, PF took over and they were in power for 10 years, you see, reducing in order to reduce. From 15 years, MMD went, then PF, we stayed for 10 years, we went. It therefore follows that by UPN, they are only staying for 5 years. They are a one-term government, and this is happening in the entire Africa. In Botswana, there, President Magwesi was a one-term government. Now there's President Boko. In Ghana, it was a one-term president. Former President Mahama came back. They told him it can never happen. Malawi might be a one-term government. They're going to elections in August, so UPND is definitely going there. Why would people vote for them? The common man caller here, he said that we are not even the opposition. It's the people out there that are opposition. And in the compounds and locations of Lusaka and the Copper Belt and elsewhere, even in Southern Province, I'm there half the time campaigning quietly. They even say, now we know that PF was even better. And our own person from this region, we are now getting, we used to get so many bags of fertilizer, now it's giving us a kameda, and the hunger is even higher. Can assure you that August 2026, PF and the opposition alliance will get even more votes in Southern Province than we got in 2021, because the opposition that President HH has is himself and then the people. They'll be voting him out. Even 2021, President Edgar Lungu, people were at the time were devoting PF to Semuzi Mvela Maningi, like the same way Isetinambo Zimbela after 10 years. Now them 5 years, very cocky. The money people are suffering, saying us we are enjoying. So the people lined up early in August 2021 to vote us out. So they were just voting anywhere other than on PF. We were lucky, the few of us who survived in Lusaka, because we were all gone. People were resolved. The same way, next year, people are resolved. They'll vote anything other than Ipajanza. They'll vote anything other than where there is a symbol of UPND. That's the situation that they don't know. And there's only 1 year to go. There's nothing they can do. What can they do to reduce the price of milk? My colleague was talking about IMF. We warned them, don't go to the IMF, because it will get worse. We, the PF, it was on the table, but President Edgar Lungu loved the people of Zambia. He said, I cannot remove subsidies. They will die of hunger. We told them in Parliament, don't sign. They signed. Where is the price of meal? Where is the, everything else has become difficult.
But it's good you bring that up, because can we survive as a country without subsidies?
Can we survive?
Yes, can we survive as a country? Well, can we survive without government subsidizing?
Listen, every government that is responsible will always find a way to subsidize. There is a component of running the economy and business side of government, but there's also a social side of government. Okay? You cannot get into government and start running it like Kantemba Panyumba. You are only focused on profit. No, this is about the welfare of people. Even in America, there are subsidies that are offered to balance the economy, but also to alleviate the challenges that the citizens may have. It may depend on which sector is a priority. In this case, it's a priority for people to eat. So subsidizing the agriculture sector is critical. The systems were meant that after a certain number of years, the ones who are subsidized graduate to become subsistence farmers, possibly commercial farmers. Then you go back and continue to grow, because the aim was that ultimately the agriculture sector should be able to produce enough food even for export. But for many years, I think up to the time that we're in government, one thing that we had been able to succeed to achieve through the subsidies is that we always guaranteed food security. The only thing is that our friends were not patriotic enough. How can you find I'm getting into at his farm, or maybe I'm criticizing that he's not running the farm properly, then he says, okay, come and try and run it for 1 year. I find there are stocks and stocks of reserves in terms of seed and everything. Then I decide to sell everything, and then tomorrow I start crying, I don't even have one seed to plant. That's basically what the UPND did. Which we could have been able to utilize for 2-3 years, like we said earlier. They came and sowed. And the disaster is what also the American ambassador said a few weeks or a month or so ago, where he says this same government which sold maize to Tanzania, they ended up again going to try and import the same maize back, and they even paid, but the maize which they paid for, they have not even been delivered. It's these scandalous occurrences that have led us to where we are today.
Okay.
But subsidizing, responding to a question, it's the responsibility of government. Those interventions must always be available from a government towards the citizens to mitigate situations. Why do we have, for example, when we had the coronavirus, why did the government have to go out of its way to mitigate in certain areas? It may be called subsidy, because subsidizing, because citizens' life must be prioritized over and above whatever consideration you can talk about.
Okay.
So subsidizing is part of the levers that the government will use to mitigate certain situations.
Just to add on quickly,
just very quickly, because I'm out of time.
Okay, just quickly. My brother is talking about subsidy.
Yeah.
You see, this UPND government is a capitalist government. Okay, but capitalism, then they follow it with Umunguru. They follow the USA, which is a capitalist country. But the same USA, they give subsidies to their people. They subsidize the farmers. FISIP type of subsidies there in the USA. They subsidize farmers. They subsidize their people. Here they take out all the subsidies. They take out subsidies from FISIP, from mill, from electricity, from everywhere. So they themselves, you see, before I forget a major point, the US ambassador even said the Gini coefficient in Zambia has even grown. We are about one of the top 10 West countries in the world. The gap between the rich and the poor under the UPND 2021 has now widened. So Viveka, we can even count them, they are about just 5. They've become very rich, stinking rich. Manja is a majority, 20 million Zambians will become very poor. Why? Because they are capitalists. It's only about them. Their religion is only them should make money. All the local businesses, some of them, their friends, have collapsed because they don't even give them business. You see, when you give contracts, what's important, I found my brother here, the SG, talking about any government has to spend. And that's a big difference with the government of ECO and of HH. The government of ECO would use money for government and give contracts to Zambians to do roads, to do contracts to build hospitals. What that means is when that Zambian is paid, where will they spend the money? On their family, on their friends. They will send to their village in Kaputa or wherever it is. But this government, just this Ndola Lusaka dual carriage, huge amount of money. Not only, instead of giving a Zambian, I wouldn't have complained, they could have given anybody. But they go and give it to a foreigner, a Chinese man, who didn't even have money, comes in Zambia and gets money from NAPSA to do our own job. So why didn't they give that contract to a Zambian? So now that Chinese, when he gets paid, he sends the money to abroad. And the money is not in Zambia. Had they given you, Luchi, the contract to do Ndola Lusaka, I wouldn't have complained. Because Ukafola, it's just that you get that money. It's just that you are married now. I was going to say you'd send to your girlfriends, but now I know you're a one-man, one-woman man. But then you give our sister, your wife, she will also send it to her relatives in the village. The entire Zambia will enjoy the money that you're doing. So this government is just making life very, very difficult. Come next year, I'm more than confident, based on what I've seen. I've been traveling around the 10 provinces last 3 years. They have already gone, these people. It's just a penalty that will be taken
Sampa.
Next year.
Thank you very much for coming in. I know you had a busy day, but thank you very much for finding an hour at least to join us. Mr. Nakacinda as well, thank you very much for joining us on the program. That is today's edition of Let the People Talk. Thank you very much indeed for listening.
This has been Let the People Talk. Let the People Talk.